It was a very sentimental or emotional decision for me that time. I was into advertising till very recently. That time I was full time into advertising. I had my ad agency kind of sort of thing, and doing वही सब मस्त मजे वाली जिंदगी. And there was this drought that affected farmers of Maharashtra in a very bad manner. 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, all was that era when the drought, followed by all the horrendous things after that, the uh, farmer suicides, and we were listening to the stories every day. At first they were the headlines, then they shifted to the quarter page, then they shifted to a one liner, then they shifted to a fourth page, and they just disappeared. But that time, there were many things happening around Maharashtra to work around this particular problem issue, which is like very much ongoing since many decades now in this country. And I was moved by the whole situation. I wanted to do something about it. I had no idea what can I do about it, but I had in mind that I have to do something. And then an opportunity came. There was this organization who used to work for these farmers, widows, and all this. So we were discussing, me and someone from that organization, and the idea came that we should document this whole situation because it's an important story. And again, that time also, my first intention was to take this story to the kitchens and living rooms of every household. So from day one, my intention was always been that to create certain amount of I won't call it awareness because वो बहुत ज़्यादा फिर ना heroic हो जाता है. Awareness नहीं है ये. It's about taking things into the day to day dialogues. Otherwise ये हो जाता है ना कि ये सब issues एक्टिविस्ट्स के लिए है, जर्नलिस्ट के लिए है, पॉलिटिशियंस के लिए एट बेस्ट, पॉलिसी मेकर्स के लिए. नो, these are directly, exactly, and it directly relates to you. So my first intention was that, and I started traveling across Maharashtra. I traveled around 20,000 odd kilometers with my camera team. I met hundreds of widows of the farmers and the children, and I documented that entire issue with the help of this organization, and I also documented their work. And that was a bold move when we decided to broadcast 12 episodes. It was a docu-series on a prime time entertainment channel. It was on a prime time on a leading entertainment channel in Maharashtra. And the reason was very clear. I wanted this to be discussed in the kitchens and the living rooms. And we made 12 episodes docu-series out of it. And that is how I got into the docu-making sort of. Yeah, and that applies to everything that happens these days. It is not just about farmers' protests. That we are people like us. We are not happy with the discourse that continues around particular issues, particularly with the issues being faced by the citizen or any particular strata of the society or the country. So same thing happened when farmers were protesting. It was a COVID time. We all had a lot of time in our hands, and most of the people in country were utilizing that time in spreading the messages which was ये तो खालिस्तानी है, ये तो आतंकवादी बैठे हैं, इनका तो ये फंडिंग है, इनका तो वो फंडिंग है. So my first intention was to see the truth. Not that I believed any of this. I was following some really authentic resources on social media at the beginning of the movement. And then I heard some weird statements around in my locality, people calling them terrorists. Why don't you just shoot them off and it will solve the issue? And like, what's wrong with us? I mean, किसी का भी इशू होता है यार. वो कोई अगर रेस करता है तो उसको मार डालने का सोच हमारे दिमाग में कहाँ से आने लगी. एंड देन द आंसर वाज वेरी सिंपल. इट वाज arriving from the feed that they were receiving every day from news channels and from social media or paid handles or the typical IT sale wala propaganda. So I wanted to see it for myself. First, it was not an idea of making a film out of it. It was just to witness it, make some sort of videos out of it, which will try to debunk the mainstream, very well orchestrated propaganda around it. And that's how I came to the borders of Delhi, and we started Too Much Democracy. Farmers' issues might be different in its detailing in Maharashtra or Punjab, but ultimately it's about the people who run this country. Actually, it's about the farmers. We are agrarian country. No matter how many malls we built up, and how many other things, service industry, and everything is said and done, we are an agrarian country, and agro related issues have to be at the top rating agendas of the social discourse. It was not very difficult for me to navigate through this, because as I said, a problem is a problem. ये आपका problem हो, ये मेरा problem हो, and there are ways to tackle the problems in democratic nations. Those ways are being molded in recent years. वो problem वहाँ से है। ये देखो, ये नहीं कि ये farmers first time agitation कर रहे थे दिल्ली में। In 80s राकेश टिकैत जी के पिताजी भी 80s में उन्होंने पूरे राजपथ पर बैलगाड़ियाँ लगा दी थी. That was also on the face of, I guess, some national big event, 26th Jan or 15th August. And Rajiv Gandhi ji had to assure them, and then all the placards went back to their village. So, say, agitations were not new, protests are not new, issues are also not new, and it will take to resolve the issues. What was new was our reaction to it, our response to it as a society. As a government, yes, and that's a different story. Politics keeps happening, but as a society, that response was very much devastating for me. We cannot be like this. आज फार्मर्स का है, कल स्टूडेंट्स का होगा, परसों माइनॉरिटीज़ का होगा, उसके बाद दलितों का होगा, किसी का भी होगा. अगर आप सवाल पूछने वाले हर बंदे को, हर समूह को अगर आप लेबल करने लग गए, तो ये डेमोक्रेसी ज़्यादा दिन टिकने वाली नहीं है. कुछ भी नहीं टिकने वाला इन दैट सेंस. एंड दैट इज़ हाउ that was the core feeling at the base of it. It is not, I never thought of it only as a farmer's agitation. Even while editing it, I used to discuss this with my team, that we are not just telling a story of a farmer's protest. It's a bigger humanitarian crisis that we are talking about. And then at the core of it, we try to search for Gandhi in the film. And does those values really matter? And they do matter. Kitna we try कर रहे हैं लोग न जाने कितने सालों से टू debunk the Gandhi and Gandhian ideology, but still lakhs of farmers proved it that no, सत्याग्रह का वे अभी भी वर्क करता है, कर सकता है. And that was the whole inspiration behind this. That comes from my advertising background actually. I always try to title my films like that, which at first attracts the audience, and all kind of audiences. You should not restrict it to any particular, because see, convincing the convinced is a different ball game. What particularly, I always make it a point that I'm making film for everybody, all the audiences, and my title should be catchy enough, should ring very quickly in your minds, should be something very colloquial as well, which gives a recall value to it. And again, as I said, it was a discussion about a larger issue, not just the farmers. There were ministers, there were prime time news channel anchors. Everybody had put this term into discussion, and again, it was all orchestrated. Everything now that runs into a social discourse is very well orchestrated. ऐसे ही कुछ नहीं हो जाता आजकल. तो too much democracy. They were trying to infuse this idea into the mind, and it's not new. They have been trying this, certain people, since very long times, that नहीं यार, ये हिंदुस्तान के लिए ये लोकतंत्र कोई अच्छी बात नहीं है, हमारे लिए लोकतंत्र अच्छा नहीं है, हमारे. So I wanted to take that term only, that okay, let's. And interestingly, I really had so many such responses when I announced the film. Yes, you are right, there is too much democracy in this country now. And I was like, no, wait, you got to see this.
The sarcasm was too lost.
Yes. It was an emotional journey for me. So when I came here first, I was really curious. I was not aware of what exactly is happening around there, because the resources either were from this side or that side. So as the line comes in the film, it was a fact that first question someone asked me there was, dal chawal khaoge? And it was so emotional for me that you know nothing about me, you have no idea about my intentions also, why I'm there. I can do anything out of that footage and whatnot, but still they were very much loving and caring. And those protests, when I when I went there for the first time, I was extremely emotional that night. I was emotional just to see the strength of people, the strength of love and democracy in this country, how it can turn. Imagine, Aditi, it is not very easy. इतने लाख लोग एक साथ बैठे हुए हैं, and to keep that decorum, that momentum for such a long time without letting any. 26 January was a deliberated incidents, but otherwise to keep this whole anger and everything controlled and in your
And focused.
focused on the cause. Everybody there was very well informed about what they were there for. Everybody there had a very clear idea what the farm laws are about and what they do not want out of it. And everybody there was also clear about that they are agitating against the farm laws, not against any particular government. It took some time because after the insensitive response by the government, then it turned into that. But till one point, they were like, no, we don't want these laws. Discuss with us, talk to us, and then do it. So it was very enriching, emotional, affectionate experience. I made a lot of friends there who are still my very good friends, rather who became very, very good friends later on, and we are still in touch. And it has given me so much, that journey. And I met wonderful humans of this country over there, and they walk from all the strata all across the country. And though the farmers were mainly from Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, but there were people there who came from across the India to support them in various capacities. I have seen one birthday celebration there, and I was like, whose birthday is it? Someone got the cake, and I was like, whose birthday is it? So someone said, ye police wale bhaiya ka. So these farmers are celebrating the birthday of a police person who is there, posted there. I was like, how do you know? अरे ये हमारे ही गांव का हरियाणा के पास, तो इसकी बहन का फोन आया था कल कल भैया का बर्थडे, आ नहीं पाएंगे तो कर लेना. एंड दे वर ऑल celebrating that birthday together over there. So that was the core of this. That is what I love about these protests. जहाँ protesters उनके बंदोबस्त के लिए रखे हुए पुलिस है, उनके बर्थडेज भी सेलिब्रेट कर रही है, सब त्योहार साथ में मना रहे हैं. एंड दैट इज द कोर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी. I do not have a very specific technical answer to this because it never happened that way with me. At first, when I went there, as I said, I had no full length or a feature length or even a short length film in my mind. What I had was maybe a music video, maybe some short video that explains to the people, at least in Maharashtra. I was trying to connect it to the concept of Wari in Maharashtra. So there is this a long tradition of Wari. So that Wari is about people coming together, walking through the streets to Pandharpur. It's a pilgrimage, but in a way it's a very agrarian concept. So I could see a lot of similarities between Wari and this, and I wanted to. So first thing I had is I'll just take some montages over there, and I'll mix it with good abhanga. Abhanga is a Marathi form, and it is a very revolutionary type of music and poetry. So I wanted to do that video first of all. So first time when I went there, I just had one idea in mind कि 10 minute का ये video cut करेंगे. But when I went there, when I met people there, and I realized, no, this is something much, much bigger than what is meeting your eyes. And it has never happened in this independent India. Then I met farm leaders over there. I met Rakesh Tiketji and other farm leaders. And I understood that they are very much open to the discussion. They are very much open to, this whole thing getting documented. And I went back and I spoke to our producer. Then producer was Parag Patil. So I spoke to him that this is the situation. He was like, okay, let's keep rolling for some more time. With this particular protest, the scene was, we had no idea where will this end or how will this end. We were just rolling. And every now and then I used to decide, okay, this will be the benchmark now. And so with my team, I said, okay, ye din it's like completing 100 days of the protest. So let's release on this day and let's plan accordingly. Then it was like, nahi, aur kuch chal raha hai wahan pe. So, okay, let's lock it for the monsoon, because monsoon mein to ye रुक ही जाएगा, इन लोगों को जाना है. But no, monsoon also was continued. And we were rolling, आ रहे जा रहे, बीच में कोविड का सेकेंड वेव आया, so we couldn't come here in Delhi. We were sitting there and we were, sorting out the data using Zoom, because we all also were at different locations, locked up in our houses. And that is how it continued. By the time of September, I had decided, okay, I'll conclude my story over here. So my first conclusion in mind was Muzaffarnagar Mahapanchayat, Kisan Panchayat. So for me, with a democratic perspective, that was like a completion of one circle. So Muzaffarnagar was where the riots had happened, and now there were Kisans, calling in for Allahu Akbar and Har Har Mahadev together, and that was like, this is what a democracy gives you. If you follow the democratic path, this is what you get, unknowingly maybe. So that was my conclusion in my mind then. So post September, we decided, okay, let's start making a final edit of it, concluding it on 5th of September. That was the Kisan Panchayat in Muzaffarnagar. And while the edit was on, I suddenly got a message one day morning from Vignesh only. He was there. So from him, there was a screenshot that farm laws are repealed. And I was like, "Nahi re, Photoshop hai." So I was like, no, see, his Prime Minister is live. And I went, I was like, yes, he is live. And that gave a very natural conclusion to this whole story. But yeah, I couldn't figure out things earlier. We had no idea where we were heading. Of course, what happens with the documentary, and particularly since we come from Maharashtra, almost all of our team members were from Maharashtra, Mumbai. So we had to travel all the way here, stay here, then shoot it, then take it back and process it. So logistically, it was firstly trust of my producers on me that, whatever you're shooting. In between, what happened, we created one promo with Charlie Chaplin's speech at its backdrop. And that promo did so well across the world. Lakhs of people across the globe saw that promo because of Charlie Chaplin, of course. And they, my inboxes were full on all social media platforms. I'm very much, what you can say, lazy with social media. I don't check, or recently I'm learning to, post stories and all that. Even you know that, because I don't reply very quick and all that. But that time my inboxes were flooded by messages from all across the world, and that gave us a sense of responsibility that people are willing to listen to our story. So why not tell it properly now? And that is how it went ahead. At many times it happened. One particular time was when I was not on the location. I was in Mumbai. Our team was shooting here, and that was the day of Kisan Parliament, Kisan Sansad. And all these farm leaders and important key activists and protesters were supposed to leave from Singhu border and go to the parliament. So my team also joined them from Singhu border. So there were multiple buses. So my team was located in one bus which was meant for media and their people. And suddenly I get a call from my cinematographer that see, our bus is inside one compound now with big walls, tall walls, and the gate is locked. I'm like, which compound? They're like, we have no idea. The bus is here, and they're saying, no, you're not moving anywhere from here now. And I was really tensed over there because I was sitting in Mumbai, and these guys I was really not aware what exactly is happening. So I tried calling few of the farm leaders over here, Bhupinder Chaudhary and all these people. What's happening? My team is there. Don't worry, we'll do something. So there were many buses that they diverted and they locked them inside, mainly with the cameras, the buses which had people with cameras in it, the YouTubers and all those. So in one of those buses were my teammates. So it was really frightening for me that moment because I was sitting there and this whole team, and you never know when these things turn nasty. And the way it happened on Republic Day, it's very hard to control such situations. And at such times, for me in a way as a team leader, my first responsibility is my teammates, their safety and their security. So yeah, it was very scary. And more than police, the people and the media was brutal. The way they were portraying this whole thing. See, because police brutality was about just one area. I don't justify that brutality, but what we were failing to see is the venomous discussion. These I'll tell you my experience with one of the team members. They were in charge of in post production. They were in charge of sorting out the mainstream media material. So after watching it for 2-3 days continuously, they were actually mentally disturbed, and they came to me that we are not able to see or listen to this anymore. We need a we need a break now. So I was like, go, don't work for 2-3 days, because I could understand what. Now see, they watched it. They binged watched it in a way for 2 days. Now imagine this is happening every day in a small quantity in every household. What kind of toxic material are we producing and consuming and providing as a society? And that was more brutal to all of us. I used to have so many sleepless nights that time, thinking of the people, thinking of what is being portrayed. Because जब आपको पता होता है कि अरे मैं गया हूँ यार, ऐसा नहीं है यार, वहाँ पे मेरी मेरी दादी जैसी, मेरी नानी जैसी कोई बैठी हुई है यार, वो फैमिलीज है वहाँ पे, ऐसा नहीं है जो आप शाम को 8:30-9 बजे बता रहे हो. एंड उल्टा वो इतना इनकन्वीनियंट है, वो अपनी खेती बाड़ी छोड़ के, आई कुड सी दैट दे हैड दिस सर्कल्स कि 2 लोग अभी आ रहे हैं, वो 2 लोग रुकेंगे यहाँ प्रोटेस्ट साइड पे, वहाँ पे 2 लोग खेत में काम, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल अग्रेरियन पीपल. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, उनका 10 to 5 जॉब नहीं है, उनका ईयर लॉन्ग सर्कल है. आप साल का 1 महीना अगर काम नहीं करो ना उसमें, तो आपका पूरा साल वेस्टेड है. यू डोंट गेट लीव्स लाइक दैट इन अग्रेरियन सेक्टर. दैट वी फेल टू अंडरस्टैंड मेनी टाइम्स एज अ सोसाइटी कि 1 महीना अगर मेरे खेत में काम नहीं हुआ ना, तो वो सिर्फ 1 महीने का नुकसान नहीं है, मेरा पूरे साल का सिस्टम बिगड़ जाता है उसमें. सो ये सब करके अगर वो वहाँ पे बैठी है, आई विल से, बिकॉज दोज women were the reason this whole thing hold together, and that went on very safely in a way. I see this very optimistically, that yes, the wave is very much important, and it should continue with all other aspects or the social movements. See, as a filmmaker, though we cannot intervene in the process, I always give this example. Had it not been for Ram Ke Naam, would you really understand what all happened then? That is our role. It may not affect right now immediately, but 10 years, 20 years down the line, there will be this documentation for people to understand. Because see, here onwards, the mainstream in terms of the Ayodhya conflict will be this only. No, but there always will be Ram Ke Naam for the curious minds to watch and understand the situation. So we are just continuing that legacy. Not to compare, of course, I can't dare comparing myself to Patwardhan sir or anybody, but if you see Vivek, if you see Ram Ke Naam, just on the face of whatever is happening currently in the city communally, these films were made, and these films are there, will be there for all the curious minds, and which will balance out the things. And we should keep doing it, irrespective of what impact we are able to do right now or whether or not. That was not my choice, because I am also, I used to be very shy away from whatever I am making, and I don't want my voice to be there. I just want that, वो एक होता ही है अपने में, you know it very well. It was suggested by Arvind Joshi, who was my creative director in this film. So what happened was, we had around 5 drafts of the film, but something was amiss, and I was always telling him, कुछ तो है जो ना वो click नहीं हो रहा है. And it was Arvind's idea that, Varun, what is not clicking? I was like, what? See, we have been listening to this story from you every day for last 1 year or whatever months, and here it is missing. It is not you who's telling this story. If that thing comes, this whole thing will be what we are thinking of. And then I was like, okay, let's try this. So me and Arvind, we sat the whole day, and okay, यहाँ पे जा सकता है, यहाँ पे जा सकता है, and we both there, and I just recorded on mobile. And then also it was not supposed to be my voice in the final product. I still was shy about it. I was like, okay, I'll write the narration, but it won't be me. But when that narration was placed, everybody in the team was like, no, this is the final thing. It was the tone that, yeah. So that is something I found about myself as well, that okay, I can do this as well, because I am sarcastic in general while talking, and that is what made it connect to many people, I guess, because it is very true. That is how I am. If you sit with me and talk about any issues, I'll discuss in this tone or this tonality only, because that is what my nature is. And as they say, whatever is organic, whatever is real, always hits, always clicks. So that was the story. And with my next film, I continue the daring of being on the camera myself.